2012父亲节征文活动，父亲，我想对您说，青少年组1等奖文章，作者 Aurora 张，请听他自己朗读的这篇文章。
Snapshots: What You Mean to Me as a Dad by Aurora Zhang. Simple Joys. My father is a farmer at heart. I remember seeing him when I was young, glasses perched crookedly on his nose, as I crawled my way up to his lap. He would slouch on the sofa after a long day of work, exhausted with back and eye strain from those endless hours of hammering away at computer keys to keep his desk job at a hardware design company. He's been there working as a computer engineer for 14 years ever since my parents moved from semi-rural Indiana to the heart of Silicon Valley. Did you want to be a computer guy when you growed up? I would ask with childlike naivete, tugging at my braided pigtails. To a 6-year-old, the black screen filled with foreign computer code and numbers was a locked room full of secrets that only my oh-so-smart papa could figure out. He would crack open an eye and give me a half-smile. I liked math and science as a kid. I don't know about computer engineer, though. What did you want to be then? And here he would get a sort of faraway look in his eyes, glancing beyond the comforts of our house to the sunlight and trees outside. For the longest time, I wanted to be a farmer. This puzzled me. Why? He'd sit me on his knee, wipe his glasses with his shirt, and smile a bit, though his face was tired and creased from work. Remember when we went hiking last Saturday? Yeah. Hiking in the Saratoga Hills on the weekends was a family excursion that we often embarked upon. From the vantage point of a child, eyes filled with wonder, there was an awesome beauty in the shady, towering trees, the golden shaft meadows, and a little bit of nature above the valleys of houses and office buildings. Farmers live on the land, Mei. They don't have to worry about the troubles of modern living, all the stresses, the troubles of a high-tech job like mine. Their lives are difficult, but they live day to day relying on what God provides them with. You know, if I weren't an engineer, he said, glancing out at the peach and pomegranate trees he'd planted in our backyard, I'd like to be a farmer. And perhaps I will be when I grow older. I didn't understand much of it back then, but nevertheless, I was intrigued. My father has 2 postgraduate degrees in physics and engineering, and he lives by his work on the computer. Yet he taught me at a young age to appreciate the beauty of nature and the joys of creation in which we live. Grit and Glory. When I was 8 years old, my father taught me how to ride a bicycle. Most of my friends already knew how to mount a bike without training wheels far before I did, and I was somewhat self-conscious of the fact that I couldn't. So on a breezy summer evening before 4th grade, my dad carted me over to the local elementary school with a wrench and my old purple training wheels-laden bike. We're gonna teach you how to ride a bike, Mei. The resolve in his dark eyes was unmistakable. I learned to ride a bike when I was 5 years old, and I rode it back and forth to my school every single day for 10 years. I sat cross-legged on the cool blacktop, watching with ambivalent anticipation as my dad slowly unscrewed my wheeled sense of security. I winced a bit as he pulled them off, one by one, until he proudly stood up with the old white wheels on the ground. Here we are, he said. On you go now. Suddenly, the bike didn't seem so friendly at all. I looked around. The playground, cast in the fading sunlight, was devoid of the usual laughter and chatter of children. There was nobody watching. I felt an unusual quiver of fear as my father took my pink helmet and strapped it carefully under my chin. But, Daddy, the bike! The bike can't even stand like that. It'll fall over if I get on. He put his strong hands on the handlebars and seat. Don't worry, he said. I'll be right here to catch you if you fall. The small purple bike still looked unsteady against the concrete blacktop, and the various ways in which I could tumble and fall and add some new bloody scrapes to my shaking knees still danced in my mind. But with a long look at my father's steady hands on the bike, his reassuring eyes that I saw my own fearful ones mirrored in, I sucked in my breath and climbed slowly onto the seat. You'll be safe, he said right behind me as I squeezed my hands on the handlebars until my knuckles turned white. I'm right behind you. Go ahead. I'm scared, Daddy, I squeaked. Don't let go. Relax. Remember what I told you? Just don't think about the fact that you're on 2 wheels. There now, good job. Keep on going. I'm gonna let go of the front now. You're doing great. See, I told you it wasn't gonna be that hard. Just keep on pedaling. Whoa! I shrieked. I looked behind and realized that he was barely holding on, and my control of the steering was quickly going awry. For a split second of terror, I saw myself in my mind's eye, displayed on the blacktop, my head pounding and mouth dry. And suddenly, I felt the bike halt to a stop. I looked behind, hearing the racing of my heart as I unclenched my fists, which were by then covered with cold sweat. My father held a firm clutch on the back of my bike seat with one hand and a steadying grip on my shoulder. See that, he said quietly. You went this far in your first try. The bushes where I had begun at one corner of the playground were far away. I had pedaled almost past the entire length of the play structures. But did you watch me, Dad? I protested. I was about to fall right there. You would have none of it. He put my hands back on the handlebars, turned the bike around, and pointed to the grove of bushes. Let's try again. It would be many long evenings before I could bike on my own. In those summer eves between 3rd and 4th grade, my father stayed with me and assuaged my fears every time I mounted a 2-wheeled bicycle. After that, I frequently went mountain biking in the area with my father and my friends. But through my first daunting experience of taking off my training wheels, my father taught me an even more valuable lesson: bravery and perseverance. Identification. My father is the firstborn son in his family. Growing up, I was entertained frequently by stories of him protecting his younger siblings, while his parents worked long hours in factories. Him fending his way through high school and university to gain a scholarship to America, providing for himself and my mother in their first few difficult years in the States. And now, my grandfather was proud to have a son like him, who would carry on the family legacy in America. Traditionally, Chinese families value the presence of the eldest son in the family line as the carrier of family pride and honor. When I was born as the eldest grandchild, a daughter, they were joyous to welcome the newest member of the clan. Yet I always grew up with a sort of muddled, inexplicable insecurity. It was sometime between the ages of 9 and 11 when I realized that I had no male cousins or siblings. I began to watch, sometimes enviously, sometimes fearfully, in evening parties with my parents' friends as they discussed their sons, and church sermons when the relationship and passing of manhood between father and son was emphasized. Perhaps my father wanted a son. I could see it in his eyes and in his manner when he spoke with my mother of such topics. For a long time, I desired to have my father be as proud of me as I imagined he would be of a boy who had the distinction of eldest son. I dressed in t-shirts and baggy jeans. I would plead my father to go biking, hiking, and playing football with him. I tried to interest myself in what I thought a boy my age would, whether it be video games or computer programming or sports. I despised wearing dresses for a long time, but for my middle school graduation, my mother bought a beautiful satiny gown that she insisted I wear. "You look absolutely gorgeous in it," she assured me while I pouted and grumbled. When I slipped on the dress and tentatively tiptoed into the darkened living room where the floor-length mirror was, my father was sitting on the sofa. Here's the thing, I didn't often hear praises or compliments on my appearance from my father. But when I turned around, I saw his eyes light up as he told me, "Beautiful, you look beautiful in that dress." Really? In the mind of an insecure 13-year-old, those words were liquid diamond. "Really," he replied. "You're always beautiful, Mei Mei, my daughter." After that moment, I cannot say those same doubts never troubled me once in a while. Yet my father gave me so much in those few words. I don't know if he realized it then, that his affirmation taught me not only the importance of genuine compliments, but also that, despite the fact that he had no sons, my dad valued me as a daughter, just the way I am. Photographs. These are mere snapshots of 3 instances with my father and what he taught me as a dad. My father is not perfect. He has his moments when he would break and become frustrated with my mother and me. But these small moments of love far outshine those of imperfection. Through daily life and through his relationship with his dad and father, he has taught me the beauty of creation, the rewards of perseverance, the importance of loving myself, and so much more that can never be found in a textbook. Love is patient, love is kind, love does not envy. My father has shown me love in all of this. And for that, I thank you, Daddy, for shaping me into who I am today. Your Mei Mei, your daughter, one who has learned to love as well.